Right, we'll get started. Welcome, everyone. This is a 45-minute webinar called Streamline Your Practice with Embodia. And my name is Maggie Bergeron. I'm a Canadian PT, and I'm one of the co-founders of Embodia. I'm going to be taking you through the session today and just a little bit about myself. As I said, I'm a registered physiotherapist, and I went to McMaster for my master's in PT. And before that, I went to Ottawa U and also played on the water polo team there. I still see a small caseload of patients virtually, and I'm also very involved at the University of Toronto in their PT program. So this is the first webinar in the Embodia Live and Interactive Demo series, and it's going to be every Tuesday. Next week, we're going to talk about simplifying MVA or motor vehicle accident billing. And that webinar is specific to Ontario clinicians who use HCAI. And then the third session is all about automating super bills. And that session is specific to any US cash-based clinicians. If you're joining us live, you're welcome to put your questions in the Q&A. I'm going to try to keep an eye on them, and I will answer them as I see them, and then I'll double check at the end to make sure there's no more questions. So here's a brief look at what we're going to be looking at. So there's quite a few things to get through, and we will jump right in shortly. So Embodia is an all-in-one platform. We offer everything from practice management and an EMR to telerehabilitation, home exercise programs. There's diaries, questionnaires, and online continuing education, which includes both on-demand courses and live online webinars. There's a few reoccurring themes which you'll hear me talk about today. And the first is that Embodia is very customizable and flexible. So there's a lot of options in setup of your account, which I'm going to show you today. And the second is that we build features based on requests from the community. So Embodia has been built over the past 10 years, and it's been built mostly from our community and from their requests. The third theme is that we offer templates and kind of do-it-yourself options. So there's templates for things like questionnaires, diaries, education, charts, exercises, and there's also the option to build your own in all of those instances. Today, we're mostly going to be focusing on the practice management features, which are in the Tier 3 membership. And the Tier 3 membership also includes everything in the prior tiers. The Tier 2 membership includes exercise prescription, which I'm going to touch on briefly at the start of the demo, or when I'm going to show you Embodia and how it works. We also have two optional add-ons. Clinic Academy allows you to host and sell your own online courses. And Private Academy is really for larger organizations who want to host their own internal team training. This could be policies, videos, mentorship, but it's essentially their own academy. Okay, so let's jump in. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to show you is just very briefly the exercise prescription side of Embodia. When you sign in to an account on Embodia, the way that things get displayed is dependent on what membership tier you have and how you're using Embodia. So we can see here that there's an HEP dropdown. This includes exercises, education, and templates. As mentioned before, you can upload and create your own. Now, I'm using the web version of Embodia, and there is a mobile app, and a lot of practitioners use the mobile app if they want to record their patients in session. So if they wanted to record their patients doing an exercise, that can be done on the app. And for the purposes of today's demo, we are going to be looking at the web version of Embodia, where there's still an upload exercise option. This would be used more so if you're uploading exercises and want to make it available in your exercise library that you can prescribe to any patient. Okay. There's also thousands of exercises that you can choose from, and you can use the search bar to search for exercises. You could just type something in like back, and it's going to pull up all back exercises. You could also click on who's created this exercise. So for example, Carolyn Van Dyken has a lot of content on Embodia. So clicking on her, this is her clinic name, will pull up all of her exercises. You can click on the exercise. You can view the exercise now. You won't hear the audio, but there's audio voiceover included, and then there's a video of the content. There are print-friendly versions of all the exercise videos as well. And to prescribe, it's very simple. You just click the Add button to set up your program. And then you can set your instructions. This is things like your fit principle. You can set them for individual exercises. So you can set the daily frequency, how many times in the day the patient should do the exercise, how long this is going to be in their program for, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. You can choose to add sets, reps, hold in seconds, minutes, or breaths, a resistance, and you can add additional notes. Okay. And then you can always see that you can save this as a default. So if these are the typical instructions that you would give, then you can just simply save it as a default. And the next time you go to prescribe this exercise, all of those preferred settings will be saved there for you. You can also just click this bigger button, and it's going to set the exercises that are missing instructions. So there's a lot of things on Embodia that are designed to save you time. And in general, you can come back and change anything at any time. So nothing's set in stone. Okay, and then we can send it off to a patient. And she has an existing program, so we'll add it into her existing program. Okay. We are going to quickly go through some features. So if you do have questions or you want to see something further, just let me know in the chat or the Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and go to education. So along with exercises, there's also an education library. And the difference really is that you're not going to prescribe education, you're going to share it with the patient. And when you go and share it, you're just simply selecting the patient. You can choose to add additional notes, but there's of course no sets or reps or anything like that you're going to fill out. The education is very similar to the exercise library in that we have instructors and content creators who've contributed to the library. You can see Pelvic Health Solutions has a whole bunch. And education could be written, it could be images. And education could also be video-based, like this one, for example. Okay, so exercises too can be any type of content, meaning they can be written exercises, videos, or images. But for the most part, the exercise library is video-based. Education, there's a lot more multimedia in there. And again, you can create your own. Finally, we're just going to quickly touch on templates. So this helps save time because you can build templates. You could use our templates if you wanted. We have some that we've built for you. And what this does is it groups exercises together. It makes it really fast to prescribe to a patient. So this is already all grouped together, these 3 exercises. You can see that you can also have education in a template. And then all you need to do is click the prescribe button and select who this is going to. You can modify it for each individual patient as well. So if this isn't quite right, then you are able to modify it for the individual patient. Okay. We're going to move on here to more of the tier 3 or practice management features. Under the My Clinic dropdown, when you start a tier 3 account or practice management EMR account on Embodia, we give you this handy checklist. So This checklist is the top steps that you need to do to set up your account. And it's here to help you get started because we know starting with a new system can be overwhelming and there's lots of things to do. So we've really narrowed it down for you to show you exactly what you need to do. Also, when you join, you would have an onboarding call where myself or someone on my team would be sitting with you virtually and going through the setup of your account. We're going to just skip over here. We're going to go to the calendar view. So this calendar view is always visible, and it's going to bring you to your daily calendar. Now, the colors that are displayed here, the setup of the calendar, this is all customizable, going back to one of our themes, which is customization. So you can choose your colors. This is for your display only. So this is what you would see on your day-to-day or your staff would see for their weekly schedule. And so we can see we've had several appointments this week already. And I'm going to go ahead and set up a new appointment. And let's set it up for tomorrow. When I click on the calendar, it brings me to this page where I can book a new consult, or I could book a one-off break, a reoccurring break, or I could search my wait list. So there is a waitlist feature on Embodia, which is very simple to use, and patients can book into it. And then if you needed to search it, like you had an empty spot, you can easily do that from the calendar view. We're going to book in Antonio. So I'm going to book Antonio's appointment. So first I'm going to say who the patient is. And then we're presented with two options. We can schedule this appointment not part of a clinical case or under a clinical case. And the way to kind of think of a clinical case is as an episode of care. So the reason why somebody's coming in to see you. And we can see Antonio already has a clinical case set up. So he's already been in, he's being seen for this shoulder injury. Assuming that that's what he's coming back for, we'll just click new follow-up. And it's going to auto-populate for us all the information. If we needed to change anything, we could. If it was going to be a reoccurring consult, we could set this up. Maybe he said, I'd like to come in every week for the next month. So we're going to do 4 occurrences. We're going to show you if there's any conflicts, so you don't need to guess. These are all green checks, so there's no conflicts. And then for every appointment that you schedule, you can always attach a consent form, which means it's automatically sent to the patient. You don't need to do anything else. You can customize the emails, so you can customize the information in the emails that patients receive. And those emails go out when the consult is booked. There's a reminder email about 24 hours ahead of time, another reminder email about 2 hours beforehand. And then there's other emails if the consult is canceled or changed. And you can customize those emails. And then settings is a broad term to describe multiple other things. It includes the ability to actually change the times those emails go out. You can also attach additional questionnaires. So if you had intake forms or outcome measures that you wanted to go out with this appointment, you can have them attached so that they're automatically sent to the patient. We're going to click submit. And here we can see Antonio's appointment has been booked in. I'm going to click on the appointment and it pulls up just this quick summary. So we can see the details, what we booked for. We can see that it's a 60-minute appointment with a 15-minute reset or break time afterwards. You can add internal notes, and this can be used internally with your team, or maybe if you have a clinic admin, they might be adding internal notes in here as well. And this is a good time to mention that on Embodia, if you do have clinic admins or front desk or folks helping you run or manage your practice, those accounts are free on Embodia. Up here in the top corner, we can see that it shows a status. Statuses are used to indicate what the status of the appointment is. So for example, arrived. If Antonio comes in for his appointment, I'm going to mark him as arrived. And you can also use it to generate the invoice. So this is really helpful. You can have statuses. As you can see, we have multiple set up. but you can set them up however you'd like. Arrived, generated the invoice at 100% of the invoice. If we had chosen no-show, we can see that there's a 50% fee. So it'll generate the invoice at 50% of the fee, or you could set one up at a dollar amount if you wanted to. I'm going to go over here to the invoice. Now, I think we have a mixture of US, Canadian, and potentially international folks on here. So some of what I say may not apply, but I'll just make it clear what's Canadian, US features. Okay. On the invoice, if you're Canadian, you may want to pay attention to this side here. If you're not Canadian, this won't show up on your account. Okay. This is all related to direct billing for insurance in Canada. Again, if you're not in Canada, it doesn't apply and it won't even appear on your account. In next week's session, we are going to go through all of these in much more detail. Essentially, though, what this allows you to do is directly bill insurance companies through TELUS eClaims, Green Shield, and HCI, which is Ontario specific. On the bottom of the invoice, if you are a US practitioner and you provide super bills, you can easily do that by clicking Manage Super Bill Information. And there's lots of features, including templates and ways to automate super bills. And we're going to go through that in the third session in this series. Now, what applies to everyone is the actual invoice. So on your invoice, you can have your logo, you're going to have your clinic information, and you'll have your patient information. You can choose to have additional information displayed. So I set this up so that on the invoice, we also have the patient's date of birth and home address being displayed. You can turn these on and off. You could display phone number. You could display any information that you wanted on the invoice. We have the invoice date. Anywhere that you see this icon, it means that you can edit. So if you needed to change it, you could. There's also the option to apply discounts on invoices. And here we can see the service that we provided, the price, and then again, we can edit if we needed to. So if we needed to change anything, we could do that. And if you do charge taxes, maybe if you're a massage therapist, then you can have tax rates for your services. You can also add multiple line items on an invoice. So if you wanted to add multiple consults, or if you sell products, that's also an option available to you. So maybe Antonio bought a resistance band, so we'll add that onto the invoice. So going down here, we can see the invoice is in draft and we can add a payment. These payment methods are examples. These you would set up yourself. You can call them anything you like. And yes, you can bill directly using credit card. I just saw a question about that. So yes, you can bill on Embodia using a credit card, which I'll show you here. And essentially you connect your own Stripe account and then you can collect credit card payments. You could also have the invoice sent to the patient, which I'll show you, and they can enter the credit card information on their side. I just wanted to point out that also there's a packages and a memberships feature. So we can actually see Antonio has a lot of packages that he's purchased. So we could choose to pay the invoice from one of those packages, and you're always going to see amount remaining here. Okay. And if you wanted to add an insurance policy onto here, you could. But for now, we'll do credit card payment. We can see that Antonio actually has, so I clicked here, we can see that he has a credit card on file. And so we could select this and complete the purchase, or you could email the invoice and then the patient can securely enter their credit card information on their side and they'll be able to submit the payment to you. We'll complete the purchase though, since he has this credit card on file. And now we can see it's paid in full. We can email the receipt. And there's going to be a little notification at the bottom that's showing you that you've sent the receipt. This won't disappear. So you can always come back and see that you've sent it. You can also export this as a PDF. Patients can also export as a PDF if they needed to from their portal so that you or your team is doing less work. Are there any other questions about invoices? Okay. We're going to come out of the invoice and we're back onto our calendar page here. On the calendar, there's also some very helpful little icons that can appear on your appointment. So these are, again, quick views, making it faster for you to see what's been happening. So we can see Antonio has patient invoices and all are balanced. Over here, we can see on Jane's appointment, there's a little chart icon, patient invoices, and this appointment was actually booked using online booking, which we are going to get into. I just saw a question pop up about online booking. We will come back to that in a few minutes. Before we go to online booking, though, we're going to do a quick overview of charting. So again, by clicking on the appointment here, we can easily get to this patient's charts. We can see Antonio has a lot of charts. These are all for this patient. One was signed. There's a lot in draft. And we'll start a new entry. You could give the chart a name if you wanted to. If you wanted to name this shoulder assessment, for example. And there's templates. So as mentioned at the beginning, there are templates for charting that you can use. You can edit them, or you can build your own from scratch. I'll just choose the SOAP note. And then there is an option for visibility. So if you wanted to make the chart visible to the patient, you could do that. And when you'll also see within the chart, you can make only certain parts of the chart visible. So if you only want to make certain components of the chart visible to your patient, that option also exists. Okay, at the top of all charts, you're going to have automatically populated patient information. Here you can choose to have additional information displayed. So I have date of birth and some emergency contact information populated. And then down here's where we can start to fill in our chart. So we can type, this is an open text box, and there's lots of different types of kind of chart note information that you can have here. So this subjective section is just simply an open text box, patient reports, and you can see that there's some basic formatting and so on. Now there's also a concept of snippets. Snippets allow you to start to type text using that little number or hashtag sign, and then it'll pull up longer form text. Or you could have a more complex snippet set up, such as this repeated movement chart that you can then go fill out. What you'll also notice in all of these text boxes, there's responses from other entries. So we can click on that and we can see that actually on June 7th, 2022, for the objective section, we filled out this. Not the best chart note, but the idea here is that you can pull up all of your previous notes without actually leaving this page. And then here, so we can see, we can change just this individual section so that it's visible to the patient. Other types of chart questions or fillable forms is body charts. So this you could draw on. If you really wanted to change the color, you could. Okay. And then at the bottom, we can add additional chart items. These are, again, all set up in our account. Maybe we needed to upload a file. So you can add an upload file option here. Maybe we're going to use some pain scales so you can easily fill these out. So you can see there's quite a range of types of questions that you can have within your charts. There's also this handy duplicate feature at the bottom, which will fully duplicate the entire chart. At the top, there's a sign option. So you're going to finalize. It's going to date and timestamp it for you. And there is a revert to draft feature on Embodia, so you can set that up. If you're the clinic manager, you could set this up for your whole team, where you can say that everyone can revert to draft for 24 hours after finalizing a chart. Okay, any questions on charting? Yeah, so that's a good question. It's just about where to find all of your charts. So on your account, you can go to either your individual patient, which there's a lot of redundancy built into Embodia. So from the calendar view, I ended up going to Antonio's chart, which I could also get there by going to my patients, Antonio, charting, and chart entries. These are all related to Antonio. We can see we're on Antonio's profile here. But you can also get to charting my charts. And this is going to pull up all of my charts for all of my patients. Okay, so, and there's also, you can see that there's a supervision feature. So this is another feature available on Embodia. If you have students or PTAs and you need charts to be supervised, then you can use that feature to sign off on charts. Okay. Up next, we have online booking. Online booking is optional, of course. So if you choose to use online booking, you're going to have a unique URL, which is going to be named whatever you'd like, but probably your clinic name, .embodiaapp.com. And on this online booking page, you'll have your logo. It's going to say, welcome to your clinic. And then the buttons that appear here are dependent on what you've made available in online booking. There's other buttons that could appear too, like if you're selling courses, for example, those could appear. The colors and even the text is customizable. So all of this is customizable on your account. This is just simply an example, a demo example. The first button here is find an appointment. And we can see actually this account has 2 locations. So we'll first select the location, and then we get into this page where we're selecting what service we're going to book. There is also an option to find an appointment by practitioner rather than by the service. And there is also this submit a request button, which is a really helpful feature for that you can choose to use, where if somebody can't find what they're looking for, maybe they're coming to you for the first time and they're not sure what they're looking for, they can just simply submit a request, which is going to be their information, a note to you saying, I'm interested in coming in. Can you give me a call, maybe? And then you'll get an email saying you have a booking request. So it's a great way to reduce patient drop-off, especially for new patients coming to your page for the first time. Okay. Your logo is clickable, and it brings us back to that first page. You can choose to use classes. This is also included in our Tier 3 membership. You can see we already have a whole bunch of classes set up. This is actually a reoccurring class. And so you can make classes available, which could be in person. In this case, this is an in-person class, or it could be a virtual class. And then we can see that there's actually multiple occurrences for this class. Find a package. So if you sell packages, you can also choose to make them available for purchase online. You can see we have multiple packages available that folks can choose to purchase directly from their online portal. And then finally, products. So you can also choose to sell products. You don't have to make them available in online booking, but you could if you wanted to. And we can see that we're selling resistance bands. Somebody could go and purchase this product. Okay. Resistance bands is an example. You could sell any kind of product that you wanted to. Okay. Finally, the last thing we had in our agenda for today is reports. So there's lots that goes into managing a practice or a clinic. And if you are the manager, you probably want to know the health of your clinic and easily be able to get a variety of reports. We didn't touch too much on this My Clinic dropdown today, but this is essentially where you would go and set up a lot of your account. So how all of your account functions. And there's a stats section, which is really helpful, which includes many different reports. You can see here, these are all clickable. So there's a variety of reports, accounts receivable. Most of the reports are going to have these kinds of filters where you can choose a start date, end date, if you wanted to filter by practitioner, if you wanted to compare to a previous time period. So a lot of the reports are going to have these kinds of options. Booked appointments, again, there's filters at the top. This is going to show you all of the booked appointments for these dates. And we can see there's a kind of colorful breakdown over here. But for example, we can see that there were 5 one-hour pelvic PT assessments that took place. Clients who haven't rebooked, this is a popular report. This is a way of just easily coming up with a list of any client who hasn't rebooked. Again, you can filter by practitioner, date, and you can include patients who have been discharged. So on Embodia, there is a way to mark when a clinical case or a patient within a clinical case has been discharged from care, which is why there's this filter here as well. A few others that I'll just point out here. Patient chart stats, not everyone's favorite, but you'll have all of your practitioners listed here. If you're the manager, you would be looking at this. And we can see that for my charts, I have a total of 6 for this time period. 3 have been signed, 3 are in draft, and I have 39 that are uncharted. So I have 39 consults that don't have a patient chart started. And we can click on this, and it's going to bring us to a page showing us what all those consults are. So again, trying to make it easier to get everything done and to be able to easily see what's happening within your clinic. Patient properties. This can be a helpful report. Like if you wanted to generate a report, kind of a custom report, referral source is a common one. You can set it up so that you can collect referral sources, as we can see here. So this was a question, a patient property question that was set up, and then it will generate a report for you so you can easily see where your referrals are coming from. And referral is just an example, it's a common one, but you can see you can have a report for interventions, referring doctor, gender, whatever kind of information you'd like to collect. Payment method stats. So if you just wanted to see how you're collecting payment, it's just going to show you where you're collecting payment, what's paid, not paid, and then again, you can filter by date. And we'll go into revenue. So revenue has a lot of filters that you can choose to use if you want. It has the basic ones, which are start date, end date. You could show your revenue by day, week, or month. You can compare to another time period, which is really useful. If you're wondering how you did in August, maybe compared to so far in September. So then you're going to get this comparison. So we're showing dates and then all of your numbers. So full breakdown of each service, how much was made in September versus August. And then at the bottom, you're going to get also revenue by practitioner. And then just a little easy to see bar chart so you can see just at a quick glance how the 2 months compare. And finally, utilization rate. So if you're wondering how much time somebody has open in their calendar compared to how much time is booked, you can see that. So we can see that there's a lot of available time and not so much booked. So not a great utilization rate, which is shown on this page. So my utilization rate was only 14%. I had 262 minutes available and 38 minutes booked. for this date range. So that can, again, help you check in on how everyone in your clinic is doing. Okay, are there any other questions that I haven't gotten to? I'm just going to look here at the chat. I'll give everyone a moment. Yeah, okay, so a question about cards on file, credit cards on file. So each patient has a profile on Embodia, and we'll go back to our example, Antonio here. So Antonio has this profile, which was created either when we added him to Embodia or he signed up in the online booking portal. In either case, this profile has been created, and we can see across the top that there are multiple different sections. Each patient's going to have these sections, and one of them is called billing. Under billing, there's cards on file, and we can see that he has this card stored on file. You can't see all of the information, of course, for privacy and security reasons. You are able to delete it. You can't edit it, though. Or you could add a new card, and a patient could have multiple cards on file if they wanted to. There's also this handy payment information request, which basically allows you to send them a request for their payment information so that they can fill out their credit card information without having an invoice sent to them. Okay, so there's multiple ways to collect their payment information. Also, if you're using online booking, you can choose to have it so that when somebody's booking a appointment, they have to, you can have it set so that they either have to enter their credit card information or they have to pay up front, so pay when they book for that appointment, or pay a percentage or a part of the booking fee. Any other questions? Okay. Wonderful. So I'm going to send a follow-up email to everyone who had registered for this, and it'll include the link to where you could find the recording if you wanted to watch it again or if you wanted to share it with somebody. And we'll also include a link to schedule a time to chat. If you wanted to chat one-on-one and ask your questions to, again, myself or somebody on my team, we will include the link so that you can do that if you'd like. And with that, thanks again for joining, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.